Good evening, folks, and welcome to the live stream. I hope you're all very well this evening. I hope you had a nice weekend. We have Liam on. Great to see you, Liam. Jared Mack is here. Colin is on. Great to see you. Viking Stew, President Stew of Stewland. Great to see you once again. Aki's Mad is on. Great to see you, Aki's Mad. Amax C is here. Great to see you. Chatty Rat, hope you're well. We also have John O'Sullivan. Great to see you, John. We have 91 Leads. Great to see you. Hope you're well. We also have Tay, great to see you. CGM is here. Great to have you on. Hope you're well. We have Xavier. Great to see you. Thanks for moderating, CGM. We also have Rishi. Great to see you, Rishi, and hope you're well. Over there in Ireland, we have Young Ralph. We have also, let me see, Killer. Thank you so much for moderating tonight, Killer. Hope you're well. Reagan Elite is here. Great to see you, Reagan. Make sure to check out Reagan Elite's YouTube channel. We one of the moderators hopefully can post a link to Reagan's channel. We have also Mark Leslie. Great to see you, Mark, again. Chris Fisher is here. We have David McGuinness. Great to see you, David. Hope you're well. Also check out Indie Truck Davies' YouTube channel, the two Davies. All things Scotland there. We have Hugh. Great to see you, Hugh. Raven 1983 Witch, great to see you. Hope you're fine. Asperger's Europe, great to have you on. Hope you're fine too. Number 3 is here. Bina Mac and so many more. Hope you're all very well. Alistair is on. Great to see you, Alistair. Bill, Pete, and Monkeytron. Great to see you once again, Monkeytron. Hope you're fine. Hope everyone is having a great evening. Hope you had a nice weekend, and I hope you saw the King's Speech. Not the movie. The movie was pretty good, but well, maybe I thought it was a bit interesting how a guy sitting on a gold throne wearing a diamond encrusted hat was talking about a cost of living crisis that the Tories were going to deal with. Yes. Anyway, Bill Silver, great to see you, Bill. Hope you're well tonight. So let's jump into a few things here. So we'll talk a little bit about the King's Speech, talk a bit about Suella Braverman, and a few other things. Well, first of all, I want to jump into this. Was a clip posted on Twitter by Sky News about a possible May election.
Well, let me tell you first about the Labour reaction, and then I will talk to a Cabinet Minister about what the Conservatives are saying. Labour are saying here they believe that because the legislative programme is so light, only 21 bills, something like that, that Rishi Sunak is planning to go for a May election. How about that? Everybody up to now has been talking about an October election, but Labour now believe that Rishi Sunak is considering a May election because there are so few bills in this King's Speech.
So that's interesting. Would a May election be interesting for everyone here? Do you think a May election would be better than an October election? Now, many people will say, the sooner the better to get these bastards out. They have been doing so much damage over the last 13 years. The sooner they're out, the better. And the sooner a new party, the Labour Party, obviously, can take over and start trying to repair some of the damage, the better it is for everyone. But is it... Why would Rishi Sunak want to have a May election? So I think he wants to avoid winter, because that's when the winter crisis really kicks off. That's when the cost of living is really felt. So I think the May election is probably better for him. I don't think any time is good for Rishi Sunak. He's going to lose, but it's about minimizing the losses. So it could make sense to have a May election because you don't go into a winter crisis. You don't see the cost of living, the rising energy bills. Energy bills should be coming down by May. So people will have gone through hell, of course, but things will be getting slightly less hellish. Can we have a general election now, Reagan Elite? Yes, it'd make more sense to have it now. Like, what's the point of continuing this damage? What's the point in continuing this pain? It makes more sense to have it now. But Rishi Sunak probably believes he has a better chance of winning or holding on, not winning. I don't think he believes he can win, but he has a better chance of holding on to some seats, minimizing the damage if he calls it later on. hoping that maybe things will start to improve slightly, but they probably won't. But I think that's his best bet. So May is probably a better time than winter. And obviously in January, they wouldn't call the election. So it's probably hoping for higher turnout. Maybe the weather is a little bit better, so they're hoping for higher turnout. I think it's completely ridiculous that the Prime Minister can just choose, let's have an election now, or let's have an election in May, or let's have an election in October. It should be fixed, because all he has to do now is spin his wheels for a little bit, and then just before May, I don't know, give a sweetener to pensioners, or bring out some sort of, maybe increase universal credit by a few pence to distract the public. So I think they're going to try some dirty trick. And then, of course, they'll be ramping up the culture war. Hoping also that perhaps there's also a problem for when it comes to immigration. If the weather is getting better, the small boats numbers will increase, and that's going to piss off Nigel Farage and convince more and more people maybe within the Conservative sphere to switch to Reform UK. So there are costs and benefits, I think, with going to election in May. Generous to assume he's thinking on party lines and not just wealth extraction for the longest possible time. That's a good point. Coastal sandwich, yes. So Rishi Sunak doesn't really care about. Then I think if it was about just making money, then he would wait until January 2025, because he knows if I was Rishi Sunak and it was about just making money, then I'd wait until January 2025, because you wait until the very last minute. You're going to lose your seat, you're going to lose the election, and there's also the possibility that the longer you wait, the chances of something coming up to help you a bit increases. The sooner you have the election, the worse it is for you, according to the odds. Saw a woman with a baby on tonight's Channel 4 News claiming Sunak is doing a good job. Clearly the baby is the brains in that family. Yes, well said, Bill. How can anyone look at what's happening and say Rishi Sunak is doing a good job? I don't think even he thinks he's doing a good job. I think it's something like 20% of the Conservative Party think he's doing a good job. So they did well finding that rare woman. I think it's just nuts. A big giveaway budget, then election. That's how they normally work. Corey Tant, I love the name. Yes, that's how it sometimes works. Give a bit of money to to pensioners in particular. Throw a bit of red meat to the base and promise jam tomorrow. That's how it generally is before the election. Sing if your heart is aching. Sing when your name is Max. Just okay. Anyway, let's move on. I just want to show you this. This is nuts. This is completely and utterly nuts. So this is posted by Haggis UK. It's a good channel, account to follow on Twitter if you haven't already. Is Boris Johnson a liar? Says Sophie Ridge. Lucy Fraser, the Culture Secretary, mentions Brexit, vaccines, achieved a great deal, some mistakes, but won't admit whether Boris Johnson is a liar.
Is Boris Johnson a liar?
Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister of this country. He did a number of things.
Johnson a liar.
Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister of this country.
It's like, is Boris Johnson a liar? Well, he was the Prime Minister of this country. Yeah, but is he a liar? He was the Prime Minister.
He did a number of things that have made our country, we voted for Brexit.
It's like, he did a great number of things. We voted for Brexit. The original question was, is Boris Johnson a liar? And you're talking about he was the Prime Minister. And can you imagine having this type of conversation with your neighbour and you say, John, who lives down the street, is he a liar? And you say, well, John lives down the street. Yeah, I know that. He lives at number 34. Yeah, I know he lives at 34, but is he a liar? He drives a red car. Well, can you imagine having a conversation with somebody like that? You'd be like, what is wrong with you? Are you not able to answer the question? Is he a liar?
Delivered Brexit.
Sounds like a Wikipedia.
He delivered Brexit. Yes, it sounds exactly like a Wikipedia page.
Delivered Brexit.
Sounds like a Wikipedia entry.
He was obviously Prime Minister during the pandemic, and
he was the Prime Minister during the pandemic. So she's giving us information that perhaps somebody has forgotten. Who has forgotten this information?
he got a vaccine before any other country.
He got a vaccine before. This is the culture secretary. This is not just some member, some crazy person pulled off the street and asked, "Do you like Boris Johnson?" "Yeah, I love Boris Johnson." "Why do you like Boris Johnson?" "Well, he was the Prime Minister." "Okay, but why do you like Boris Johnson?" He got the vaccines. Yeah, the vaccines done. He got Brexit done. No, he didn't. I'm not even going to bring up the clip. You've probably seen it yourself. I think the clip with the head of the vaccine, the medical authority, the UK medical authority. I think that clip is actually worn out. Like old VHS. Maybe I don't know if anyone here is as old as I am, but maybe you remember VHS tapes. And if you watch them too much, the top of the video would become distorted, and it was unwatchable, and the sound would get really weird. So yeah, I think that clip online has been watched so many times. It's no longer watchable. Brad, thanks so much for that super chat. What's your favorite lie, Johnson? I don't lie. That's my take. Yes, I love that meme. Well said, Brad. What is Boris Johnson's favorite lie? I don't lie. That's my lie. That's my favorite lie too. I've said before, if Boris Johnson said today was Tuesday, I'd actually have to check the calendar. If Boris Johnson said his name is Boris Johnson, I'd actually have to check his passport. But his passport wouldn't say Boris Johnson. That's the thing. Like, he's one step away from Grant Shapps, okay? Michael Green. What was the guy's names? Anyway.
So he achieved a great deal. Obviously, given the circumstances of his resignation, I think he admitted he made some mistakes as well.
Boris Johnson didn't admit making any mistakes. You're lying about Boris Johnson lying. Is this lied squared, lied cubed, lied to the power of lie? Boris Johnson didn't apologise for making mistakes.
Well, okay, thank you very much. Lucy Fraser on the programme.
That was a completely pointless interview, wasn't it? What is the point of all of this? Like, this is a government minister. Once again, this is not just some yahoo, some idiot pulled off the street, in a confused state, asked, do you like Boris Johnson? Yes, I like Boris Johnson. Tell us about Boris Johnson. My God. Anyway, to something a bit more serious. People living on the street who are responding to Suella Braverman's comments that, well, it's actually a lifestyle choice. Have a listen to this.
When was the last time you slept?
4 days ago.
If she were to come out on the streets and live as you do, what is it that she would experience? Hell.
They see it as if the homeless died, they don't have to do anything about it.
On Friday...
Sadly, he's right about that. If the Tories see homeless people dying, it's like, oh, there, problem solved.
The Financial Times reported that Home Secretary Suella Braverman was looking to ban the use of tents by homeless people, citing it as a lifestyle choice.
Just think about it for a moment. Imagine about 10 years ago if somebody said the Home Secretary is going to deal with homelessness, and you would imagine, okay, what is the Home Secretary going to do in regards to the problem of homelessness? Build more homes? Is it maybe some sort of prefabricated buildings that could be set up? Converting old buildings, old office space that's no longer in use, or maybe churches that are no longer being used, maybe retrofitting certain buildings, constructing new buildings. What could it be? No, she's going to ban tents. Sorry? Ban tents. That's what she's going to do. Why is she going to ban tents? Because homelessness is a lifestyle choice. What? Yeah, it's a lifestyle choice. That's what she said. Did she resign over this? No. She's running to be the next leader of the Conservative Party.
When her plans were met with universal revulsion, she doubled down.
There is no need to use tents for accommodation in 21st century Britain.
We've decided to take the Home Secretary at her word and see if being homeless really is a choice. Did you choose to be here?
No, did I? Hell, who chooses to be homeless? That's just...
Exactly. Who the fuck chooses to be homeless? Some people... Now, when we talk about people not staying in certain accommodation or not staying at home, generally it's because they don't feel safe. Many people don't want to stay in hostels or in homeless shelters because it's extremely dangerous. You're surrounded by people who are maybe dangerous, or you're surrounded by people who have maybe mental health issues. Many women don't want to stay in homeless shelters because of the vulnerabilities regarded in connection to that. You have people who have maybe drug problems, alcohol problems, mental health issues, and they're not getting the support they need. The homeless shelter doesn't have the facilities to help people out. But language, Mr. Max, sorry, Liam. But it can be very intimidating, frightening to stay in a homeless shelter. And many, in particular young women who are homeless, would prefer actually to stay on the street. But that's not a lifestyle choice. That's basically, I want to defend my safety. I want to protect my safety. I want to protect myself, sorry. That's why I'm staying on the street. I feel more safe on the street. Not that it's safe on the street, not that it's comfortable, not that it's a lifestyle choice. God.
Madness.
When was the last time you slept?
4 days ago.
Fucking hell.
A week ago I eaten. I've had like once last week, I think, sometime. It's brutal.
You know what I mean? I don't choose to be here at all. If I could get off of here, I wouldn't fucking be here, mate. Do you know what I mean? I really wouldn't.
You said to me you had surgery recently.
Yes, I have surgery two weeks ago with a hernia, inguinal hernia, yes.
And you're living on the streets at the moment?
Yes, I'm in the street, I don't have accommodation. I go to I take a tablet, ma è possible che it's coming one infection perché I know it's possible wash. No, nothing, my friend, big problem.
The Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, described this as a lifestyle choice.
He's a scumbag. Simple, ain't it?
I love this guy. He's a scumbag. Okay, I shouldn't laugh, but he's completely correct, and I love the frankness here. She's a scumbag. Yes, exactly. Why is she a scumbag? Because she doesn't give a flying F. I'm trying to mind my language, but she doesn't give a flying F about people who are homeless. She doesn't give a flying F about anyone apart from Suella Braverman. She throws red meat to the base, not because she cares about these people, but she cares about their support. And if it means trampling on homeless people, if it means trampling on refugees and asylum seekers, then she'll do exactly that.
He doesn't know. I'd like to see him do a day out here.
Yeah.
Like, he won't know anything about it because he's got money, he's got a house, he's got all this. He doesn't have to worry about any of this.
Yeah. Lots of people watching this won't understand the reality of living on the streets. Can you describe, like, from when you wake up until you go to sleep?
When I wake up to go to sleep, like when I do sleep, you're lucky. It's like, I'm lucky if I make £1 a day, I'm lucky if I make food, I struggle to eat, I'm lucky if I eat 1 meal a week. It's bad.
Yeah, man.
It's getting worse, and then winter's coming, it's getting even worse.
Yeah, you're wearing a thin jacket, thin hoodie.
I've got like 4 layers on,
Yeah.
and I'm still freezing.
Yeah, mate.
You know what I mean? It's like 2 sleeping bags they don't work. No, it's no good.
Do you want to know what these are like? These ignore you. They'd rather step over you or look at you and just stare. Sure know what it's like to go fucking hungry, I'll tell you that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not every day that I eat. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's pathetic, but she's alright, isn't she? Do you know what I mean? Civil fucking servant, isn't she? She don't know.
A bit getting too old. Who would like me to take on job anyway? I'm pretty much useless anyway.
I don't think that would be true.
I'm not really very quick. I can't really sweep roads anymore. I used to do that for a while.
This is a very interesting point to this man. Random Scottish History, great to see you on the stream. Make sure to check out Random Scottish History's YouTube channel. Very interesting stuff there, all about Scotland. But this man here raises a very valid point about how, you know, you if you're homeless, it's very difficult to get a job because you have no, you know, what do you put on your CV? How do you approach employment agencies or companies? They want to see a history. What is your history? What have you been doing? If you don't have a place to stay, well, you need, in order to have a place to stay, you need to have a job in many cases, or you need to be on benefits. If you don't have a place to stay, well, then you can't find a job. So it's a sort of catch-22 situation. And if people have had injuries or mental health issues and they lose their job, it's, in many cases, it's the end, and then they end up finding themselves on the street.
When I was young and beautiful, but now I'm old and ugly, and nobody obviously wants me.
What did you do before you were on the streets, mate?
I was a chef.
Really?
Yeah. Fully qualified. Do you know what I mean? But ex-girlfriend, innit? You know, they don't want to employ someone that's on the street, like, you know what I mean? I tried, but it's health and safety, innit? Yes, they're filming. Bye.
What? Sorry. Don't worry, mate. What do you think would really help people in your situation?
If they stop allowing the refugees, that's one thing, and help us first. You know what I mean? They can try. If we went to their countries, we wouldn't get that help. It's too bloody easy over here the minute they hit the soil. I've got nothing against them, don't get me wrong. Do you know what I mean? But there's a homeless problem to start with, and then you've got buildings like that are totally empty. Do you know what I mean?
I'm disappointed, but I understand that he's been convinced that the problem is the refugees. The problem is not the refugees. It's the government that decide these things. There are many countries around the world that have asylum seekers arriving in them, and they don't have problems with homelessness. So you can't blame the asylum seekers. I understand, you know, he's in a desperate situation and he needs somebody. He's been convinced, you know, that by the right-wing media, the problem is the asylum seekers. And he's been told that, well, you know, they get homes, they get cars, they get mobile phones, they get whatever they need. Unfortunately, he's somebody who has bought into that. And I'm not, we can't be angry with him because he's in a very difficult situation. But unfortunately, it means that it's, you know, everyone can be convinced that the asylum seekers are the problem. It's not the asylum seekers that put you into this situation.
I mean, one floor of that you could open up as a dormitory and we'd all have somewhere to sleep. Do you know what I mean? But they won't even do that. They wait for the cold weather. That's pathetic, man. There's people dying out here.
Is there something people don't understand about the situation people like you find themselves in?
No, I don't know. Not really that I'm much suffering anyway, but so nothing to look forward anyway, apart from graveyard, obviously. I'm not much believer in anything spiritual. I think there's no way out for anybody. It doesn't matter, you're rich or poor, you're sharp in head or you're dumb. It's graveyard anyway.
Mm-hmm. How do people treat you?
Like they don't want to be treated, but they're going to get it. Do you know what I mean? You treat me like, you know, see you on Tuesday, like fucking, I'm going to treat you the same. Do you know what I mean? I don't ask for nothing, I sit and read my book. Do you know what I mean? If they want to give, they give. Do you know what I mean? I don't ask them, but...
I really don't understand this behaviour people have towards the homeless. Horrible stories about homeless people being kicked at, beaten up, pissed on. Drunken people abusing homeless people. I really don't understand this behavior. You know, there's somebody here who is vulnerable, somebody who is in a very difficult situation. It could happen to anyone. How many stories have we heard about people who've had everything and one thing went wrong and they ended up homeless? You know, they missed a mortgage payment, they missed their rent payment, they missed a payment of their rent. They lost their home. They were kicked out on the street. They had a mental health issue, maybe stress at work. Their marriage broke down. Their relationships broke down. They lose their job. They're out on the street. So it can happen. Small things can become big things. One issue could happen to anyone, and you could lose everything almost overnight.
Yeah, I'm sick of the staring and that. Yeah. That's why I read my book. As long as I don't see them, I don't care. Yeah, do you know what I mean? But some people are nice, it's not all of it, it's just the majority, do you know what I mean? But,
once again, I don't understand why people are so mean, so unkind to homeless people.
How long have you been on the streets for?
Now it's 70 months. Before for 2 years. Before.
What is life on the streets like for you?
In the street, the people give food, give a little bit money, give a cigarette, but it's very bad. It's very bad.
Yeah, Rishi ain't going to solve it by 2025. Yeah, I know that one. Yeah. He said that, no, it ain't going to happen. Not when you got places like that and they sell them off for fucking, first-time buyers and that. Hold on, what about fucking us? It's hard enough to get a place. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking pathetic.
What's your favourite book?
My favourite book? Oh, I'll tell you something. It's got to be that author, Joe Nesbo. He's bad. He really is. I like him.
He's good.
Yeah, brilliant. I favourite, it's got to be The Snowman. Do you know what I mean? But you can see it. Oh yeah, look, at the bottom, author of The Snowman. First book I ever read of his hooked me, man. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant, man. He really is. He really is. And the guy who's on about in that Harry Hole, you wouldn't want that policeman after you. He's like a dog with a bone. He won't let go.
Okay, let's move on. This is a really nice guy, and I really hope that things work out for him. We disagree with his politics, but we understand. Perhaps we understand where he's coming from and why he's in a situation like this. And he's been convinced by the right-wing media that the problem is immigrants and not the government. Anyway, let's move on. Sticking with this story about homelessness, Sunak refuses to repeat Braverman's lifestyle choice homelessness claim. Rishi Sunak has declined an offer to repeat Suella Braverman's claim that homelessness is sometimes a lifestyle choice. The Prime Minister joined several senior Conservatives in distancing himself from his Home Secretary's comments, although he stopped short of criticising her. No, because he's afraid to criticise her. He's too worried about how it would play out within the party. She has a massive amount of support, especially with the members of the party. The headbangers in the party want her to be the next leader, and he doesn't want to rock the boat before he leaves. You don't want to upset the future boss, so you just go along with it seems. Alistair Carr, thank you so much for distributing those memberships. We have a membership for 91 Leeds, Chris, Hugh, Steve, Stefan, and Jim. Great to have all of you on Discord. I hope you enjoy it. Alistair, 9 months. Time flies this long. Wow, I blinked. And it's amazing. We'll have to give you a little gift on your 1 year anniversary of being a member. That's great, and thanks so much for your support and your continued support and your encouragement of people to join the channel and join Discord. Thanks so much for that. It followed condemnation from charities over Braverman's plans to establish a civil offence to deter charities from giving tents to homeless people. Asked by broadcasters if the language was offensive on a visit to a gas terminal on Monday, Sunak said, "I don't want anyone to sleep rough on our streets. That's why our government is investing £2 billion over the next 5 years to tackle homelessness and rough sleeping. I'm pleased that the number of people sleeping rough is down by a third since the peak. But of course, there's more to do." What are you doing? So, once again, £2 billion. We're going to spend £2 billion over 5 years. Okay. How much are you spending per homeless person? What are you actually doing for the homeless people? Are you creating infrastructure for them? Places they can stay? Structures that they can rely upon? What are you actually doing? Vic, great to have you on Discord. Great to have you on. That's great to see you. We have Brad. Thanks so much, Brad. Braverman is too evil for a Stephen King novel. That's really, really good. I'm just thinking, if she was just about evil, she just met the threshold, somehow met the threshold. There was a loophole, and she managed to meet the threshold. What character in a Stephen King novel would she be? It, maybe It, or I don't know. The Pet Cemetery, there wasn't really an evil one in Pet Cemetery. Maybe it reminds me of Misery. Misery, breaking, what was the actor's name? Feet. That was a really good movie. I haven't read the book, but. David McGinnis, thanks so much, David. Great to see you on the stream. And remember, guys, as I said before, to check out Indie Truck Davies' YouTube channel, the Two Davies. Sunak is off to the USA after election defeat. Yes, probably looking for a job with, under Elon Musk. He's kissing Elon Musk's arse this week or last week, so he's probably looking for a job in the US after that. That was a really weird interview he gave to Elon Musk, who's, giggling like a schoolgirl whenever he was making sort of half funny jokes. Anyway, Sunak is not going to criticize Suella Braverman because he's afraid. He has no backbone. He's spineless. He won't really punish his MPs. He let the whip deal with the MPs. But Rishi Sunak doesn't seem to be all that interested in leading. It's just about spinning his wheels. And in many cases, people are saying it's about him enriching his family. It's just, that's why he's an MP. That's why he's Prime Minister. Not to actually achieve anything, but just to enrich perhaps his father-in-law in one case. Alistair, thanks so much for that super chat. The devil's not wanting her down there. Yeah, the devil's like, hey, this place is full, okay? The inn is full. We can't take any more. So like, Britain is full, hell is full. That's what the devil would say to Suella Braverman. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, we're about halfway through the stream, so I want to take a short break, and we'll be back in just a jiffy with more serious stuff. Hope you enjoy this comedy moment.
Welcome to Broken News. New research from a group of top British academics has found that 98% of British people think the current UK government is full of absolute fucking cunts who couldn't govern a fucking cake. The investigation also found deep distrust of politics generally, referring to Westminster as a sack of hot dicks and a cesspit of dishonest, disingenuous twats, self-serving ballbags and power-hungry pigfuckers. Our reporter has more.
Chinless arseholes with all the moral fibre of a wet shit. And so corrupt, they'd make Idi Amin blush. Just some of the comments submitted to this study released today by the University of Nuneaton. One respondent felt so aggrieved by the current cabinet, they said they'd rather ram a white-hot poker up their useless dick than be represented for another cocking second by these lying, overprivileged band of shitting fucks. Broken News has contacted Number 10 with a copy of the study. An official spokesperson said, after careful consideration of this report, get fucked. Back to you.
Chessington, thank you. That's it from us. You're up to date.
I love this channel. Need more of it.
On King's Speech Day,
so the King's Speech
is a full
well, let's see a bit of an analysis from Sky News on the King's Speech.
List of all the bills that they are hoping to pass in the next few days. Now, one of the secrets of King's Speech Day is that some of them were already making their way through Parliament. As it happens...
So here we have it once again. We have... Max, have you downgraded the quality of the stream? It's only 480p at the moment. That's probably okay because we're having buffering problems before, so... it has been downgraded slightly until things improve. If things get better, if things remain stable, then I might improve the quality. Apologies for the low quality. I think it's better to have a stream than just buffering. A low quality stream than high quality buffering. I hope that's the case. Sausage fingers, big speech. So what Sky News is saying here, that some of these bills were already going through Parliament. So this is not new. This is, once again, the Tories acting a bit lazy.
6 of them. They're the ones with green dots alongside them: the Digital Markets Bill, Data Protection, Renters, Holocaust, Economic and Victims Bills. All of those aren't new bills. So really, what we're talking about, what we're looking at, what we're interested in is the new bit, and there are just 15 of those new bills. There is also one draft bill. Forget draft bills. They're not going to happen before the general election. That's the draft rail reform bill. Now, what I want to do is I want you to focus on just one bill as we start. That's possibly the most important bill here. Now, what you're looking at on the screen is all the notes that we as journalists have been given when it comes to this bill. It's probably easiest if I sit down and just chat it through with you, Sophie. And I just want to focus on the Criminal Justice Bill. Now, the Criminal Justice Bill is perhaps the flagship of all of it. And it does lots of things that Rishi Sunak wants you to know about, including compelling defendants to attend their sentencing hearing. So that's a big promise after Lucy Letby. There's a really controversial proposal in there where they could use polygraph tests. You could just sit at the bottom of your screen, polygraph tests for serious terrorists or sexual offenders. Now, government documents suggest that
would that include Tory MPs?
Polygraph tests wrong on about 20% of occasions. So that's quite a big deal. But I want you to focus on this because it tells you a story of the last few days and a story of where we are right now. Have a look at this that I'm just zooming in on. And it is the crackdown on crimes and antisocial behaviour that blight communities. Now, Sophie, you will know from the last few days that we were told about a crackdown on homelessness. We were told that homeless people in tents, we have the tents taken away, that charities charities that handed out tents were potentially going to be prosecuted or criminals were going to be barred. And look at that on the screen. It's not there. It's not there. This is the legislation that we are told, as recently as this morning, that it would be in, but there is nothing down in writing. This is a fascinating glimpse into the kind of battles that we're seeing at the moment in Whitehall.
No, there aren't battles. It's just lying. Okay, there isn't a battle here. It's just lying to the public, saying we're going to do X and then not doing X. But they know that if they say they're going to do X, that's just enough. They don't actually have to do anything. This is the modern Conservative Party. It's a bit like getting Brexit done. They promised to get Brexit done. That convinced a lot of people to come out and vote for Boris Johnson in 2019. And Boris Johnson didn't get Brexit done. Brexit will not be done until the UK rejoins the EU. So, but it worked. You lied to the public, telling them we were going to do X, but you had no intention of doing X. So I don't believe this is some battle in Whitehall. This is just the Tories lying. They could easily have put it in and said, actually, we're going to do something about tents. But they couldn't be bothered because it wasn't necessary.
At the weekend, Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary, leaned into this story, said that homelessness was a lifestyle choice. And there was clearly discomfort from other ministers. And now we're looking at an absence of that being in the document that we are told about. What's going on? Now, if we talk to some people in government, they say, don't worry, we've got collective agreement. It's not there. That's the kind of story that you get by going deep in. This big thing that dominated the news.
See, it's about a narrative. It's not actually about policy. It's about pretending to do something. It's about telling the public X and not doing X. It's about lying, saying we're going to help people and not helping people. We're going to punish asylum seekers, but not actually. For example, we're going to send people to Rwanda without actually checking, can we send people to Rwanda? No, we don't actually have to check, because if we check, there's a possibility that we won't be able to send people. But what we do is we tell the public, the racists and bigots, we're going to send people to Rwanda. And then the right-wing commentators, the journalists, the client journalists, run with the story. We're going to send people to Rwanda. Sending people to Rwanda is a wonderful idea. Rwanda is a wonderful place, but it's also a deterrent. And they run with that. And the public are convinced that Rwanda is a great policy. And then what happens is reality bites. And it works out, it's actually, you can't send people to Rwanda. Or if you are sending people, you're talking about very, very small numbers. But what happened is, the narrative got out before the truth. That's what it's all about. Putting out the narrative, telling people something before the actual truth comes crashing into reality with that narrative. The narrative crashes into reality, sorry. That's what it's all about. Lying to people. Saying we will do X when they have no intention of doing X. Saying they're going to do X when they know that X cannot be achieved. And unfortunately, the public go along with it. The public have been lied to by people like Boris Johnson for years, and they still believe Boris Johnson. The best example, of course, is the DUP, who believed when Boris Johnson said, we're not going to put a border in the Irish Sea. And I remember at the time, I was like, but Boris Johnson, his government are putting in the infrastructure for that sea border. They're putting in the infrastructure as Boris Johnson was delivering a speech to the DUP when he was cheering with the DUP and telling them and business leaders in Northern Ireland, if anyone tells you to, there's no border in the Irish Sea, but if anyone tries to get you to fill out any paperwork, send it to me or just throw it in the bin. Like, even at that stage, when Boris Johnson, it was clear he was lying to people, they still believed him, or maybe they hoped to believe him. Love Stephen Flynn's Jacobite white rose on lapel. Oh yes, I saw that today. I was like, what's with the white rose? It was amazing. I saw the SNP MPs had the white rose. I was like, what's that about? I should have looked into that. Shame on me. I have a video dropping tomorrow. Just a bit of a plug there. A video dropping tomorrow with Stephen Flynn. Very, very interesting delivery of his speech in the House of Commons today in response to the King's speech by Stephen Flynn. And also, of course, he criticised Brexit, but he also talked about something else, which I think was interesting. So, talking about Brexit, let's move on away from the King's speech for a moment, and let's talk a little bit about Brexit, because, well, as I said, Brexit is not done. EU laws, equality laws to be reinstated to avoid gap in protections for workers. So this is a little bit of good news. The government has announced plans to reinstate EU equality laws before they expire at the end of the year, admitting the move is required to avoid a clear gap in protections for workers. Ministers will today lay a statutory instrument intended to enshrine key rights and principles derived from EU law. The European Union into British law. So this is about protections that were due to expire, due to end at the end of this year, and the Tory government have decided actually we're going to enshrine them in UK law. So we're going to actually maintain these EU protections. So some of them are related to women's rights. So it says here, the protections being retained include the single source test, which gives women the right to equal pay with men for doing the same work of equal value, and preventing women from experiencing less favourable treatment at work because they're breastfeeding. Other laws being retained include protecting women from unfavourable treatment after they return from maternity leave, where that treatment is in connection with pregnancy or a pregnancy-related illness occurring before they return, ensuring that women can continue to receive special treatment from their employers in connection with maternity, for example, through enhanced occupational maternity schemes, confirming that the definition of disability in the context of employment will explicitly cover working life, holding employers to accountable if they create or allow discriminatory recruitment conditions, such as if they make public discriminatory statements about access to employment in their organization, providing explicit protections from indirect discrimination by association, so that those who may be caught up and disadvantaged by discrimination against others are also protected. So these are protections, important protections for British workers, and it seems this is some good news when it comes to Brexit. Actually, good news when Brexit is undone. These were some of the rules and regulations, laws that the Brexiteers wanted to trash, wanted to burn, to throw on the bonfire. And of course, this is going to upset people like Jacob Rees-Mogg and Kemi Badenoch, the business secretary. Now, Kemi Badenoch has come out and said, well, we have to go down this road because we need to avoid disruption. Yes, it's like you were told that this is going to disrupt, getting rid of all these rules and regulations and these laws is going to disrupt business. And businesses said, please don't do this. It's going to disrupt business. And now you've come to the conclusion, actually, we better not get rid of some of these because it might disrupt business. But some people don't care about business. Remember what Boris Johnson said about business. So some Brexiteers just don't care. They're a bit like the Joker. You know, they just want to see the world burn. But some more level-headed people, perhaps within the Conservative Party, understand, well, we can't actually do this, or it's probably not a good idea, or there are no real benefits in doing this, or we're going to suffer some consequences if we do this. Don't always believe that the Tories are doing things to protect themselves. It can also be, well, there's no real benefit in doing it. So it seems that this is some good news for a change when it comes to Brexit. When we undo Brexit, it actually helps the UK and workers, of course. Let's see some more when it comes to, for example, the environment and protections for quality and food, for example, which I think are important. Just one Brexit story there. I want to move on to the march that's expected to take place next weekend. Met Police Chief defies calls to ban pro-Palestinian Armistice Day march in London. Oh my goodness, this is dividing society at the moment. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, has defied calls for a ban on the pro-Palestinian march through London on Armistice Day, as he insisted on the independence of his force amid intense government pressure to act. So the Tories are playing a political football with this. Hey, is everything okay on the stream? The chat seems to have stopped. No. Okay, sorry, it seems to have slowed down. So in a statement in which he acknowledged the demand for him to stop Saturday's procession, Rowley insisted that there is currently insufficient intelligence that there was a risk of serious public disorder. Yeah, because the previous marches have not gone off with there haven't been any real trouble at these marches, and any troublemakers have been highlighted before and have been arrested before they can actually get involved. So there's nothing. Yes, it's fine. Okay. So there's nothing really to be worried about here. Now the Tories and the right wing are trying to suggest that this is offensive to veterans. This is offensive to people, to military families. This is offensive to Britain, allowing a march to go ahead, especially around Remembrance Weekend. Okay, but why is there a day of remembrance? It's a remembrance for people who lost their lives in conflicts gone by. And in many cases, those conflicts were to protect people's freedoms. The freedom to protest, the freedom to march. And what do you have? You have people saying, we need to stop this march because it's offensive. We need to ban this march because it's offensive. Well, that's spitting on the graves of those people who fought to defend freedom. And some military veterans have come out and said, no, we need to allow these marches to go ahead because that's what we fought for. Why is this so difficult for people to understand?
Law is very clear. Parliament's laid out a framework which means if people want to assemble for a protest or any other reason, it will happen. So this weekend, there will be a protest assembly because Parliament has said that can never be stopped. There may be marches, there may be other factors to consider. We can put tough conditions.
How do you ban people from marching? You'd need, if you have 100,000 people marching, how many police officers do you need to stop people from marching? This is all a bit academic because this is about once again, pretending that you can do things when you can't. The Tories saying, what we're going to do is we're going to ban marches. Okay, but if there's 100,000 people who decide we're going to march, how do you stop that? Do you arrest every single person marching before they march? Like, you can't do it.
On this about where it's going to take place. The organisers aren't suggesting they're going to go near the Emirates events, but there will be a protest.
Well, let's discuss all of this now with the Prisons Minister, Damien Hines. I want to come to the King's Speech, of course, in just a second, but just to get your response to what we've heard from the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, that pro-Palestine march won't be banned. Has he made the right decision, in your view?
Well, you've heard the Commissioner's statement there, and of course, the police operate independently in this country, and that's quite right. What I would say is this one weekend, Armistice Day, Remembrance Sunday, is a unique weekend in our country, a very solemn time, a time when people reflect and remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice, actually so that we could have freedoms to march and so on. And there are many other weekends in the year when that is possible. So I just would appeal to people to think extremely carefully and to heed the request not to go ahead in that way.
You're happy that he can't ban a static march. He says that can't be banned.
So the police operate independently. That is a long-standing and correct principle in our country.
I wonder if your Home Secretary has got the message, but...
Okay, but he said you can't ban it. You didn't say, yes, he's right. They act independently. Suella Braverman's not fit for office. She shouldn't be anywhere near that office. And hopefully she's going to be, unfortunately, she's probably going to hold on to her seat. It's a safe seat. It would be wonderful if she lost her seat at the next general election. That's highly unlikely going to happen. She'll be one of those Tories who will cling on. And unfortunately, she's going to be probably the next leader of the Conservative Party. And she will be sniping from the sidelines when the next government are trying to fix the problems that the Tories have created. And she'll be, of course, using her friends in the media to push her narratives. It's all going to be pretty horrible. Sorry to say. Now, I want to move on to Boris Johnson. I'm not going to show you Boris Johnson, I promise. I'm not going to force you to listen to Boris Johnson. But Boris Johnson called Treasury the pro-death squad, COVID inquiry told. So the COVID inquiry is continuing, and it's unearthing a lot of very interesting things that happened during the pandemic behind the closed doors at Whitehall. Boris Johnson referred to Rishi Sunak's Treasury as the pro-death squad, as he sought to gain support for a gradual end to the COVID restrictions. The official inquiry into the pandemic has been told. Now, Boris Johnson should be in hiding at the moment, out of shame, out of embarrassment. But no, he's getting ready to launch his GB News show, I think in the new year. The inquiry also saw messages between two senior Downing Street officials complaining that Johnson was too slow to tackle a second wave of the virus, with one saying, "We are so fucked." Johnson and others inside Number 10 used language that was pejoratively termed as pro-death, the Treasury, then led by Sunak because of its focus on lifting COVID measures, according to a diary entries by Sir Patrick Vallance, the government's chief scientific advisor at the time. Stuart Glassborough, Johnson's deputy principal private secretary at the time, a role that involved liaison between Number 10 and the Treasury, was questioned about the meeting in January 2021, where Johnson set out his ambitions for a gradual easing of the COVID restrictions. The PM is on record as saying that he wanted Tier 3 the 1st of March, Tier 2 the 1st of April, Tier 1 the 1st of May, and nothing by September. And he ends up by saying that the team must bring in the pro-death squad from Her Majesty's Treasury, said the entry, reading out Dermot Keating, the counsel to the inquiry. Oh my goodness, what a crass individual he is. I can imagine there was this back and forth between Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak at the time. The fact that Boris Johnson was calling it the pro-death squad, this sort of indifference to the suffering of ordinary people, indifference to the pandemic in general. As I said before, when it came to the Cobra meetings, he couldn't be bothered to turn up. When it came to the pandemic itself, he was laughing at Italy. And then when it came to dealing with the pandemic itself, it was all, well, do I really have to do this? The worst possible Prime Minister at the worst possible time. David, thanks so much for that super chat. Scotland's First Minister today told the press, delivered a wonderful speech where he criticised Brexit, of course, but he also talked about immigration, saying that we need immigration if we want to grow the economy. This is something that you don't really hear from the Labour Party, unfortunately. You certainly don't hear about it from the Conservatives. But it shows a massive gulf, I think, between the SNP and the Labour Party even. Labour don't want to talk about immigration. I think they're still afraid of the red wall. We need to keep the red wall happy. The racists and bigots in the red wall, we need them to come back and vote for Labour. So we don't talk about immigration, even though immigration is necessary if you want to grow the economy. Because if businesses can't access the workers they need, then what do you do? Thanks, Stevie. Max mentioned the cuts in social care. Yes, of course. Like, when it comes to social care, the Tories are not interested in looking after the public. Social care, when it came to the pandemic as well, didn't have the staff they needed, didn't have the PPE they needed. Social care was really forgotten about. The NHS was forgotten about, but social care was even more forgotten about when it came to the pandemic. And today, social care is not getting the resources it needs. It's once again the wrong people in charge at the wrong possible time. Guys, we're almost at the end of the stream, so I just want to touch on a few more things before we finish. Have a listen to this.
We have now had 3 women Conservative premiers. Assuming the most recent one counts, of course.
Does Liz Truss count as a woman, or does Liz Truss count as a Prime Minister? I'm not sure what Robert Goodwell is talking about here.
And we now have the first Prime Minister who represents a Yorkshire seat. Is that a big deal? Yes, it certainly is.
Yeah, not as much as the two and a lettuce. Not sure lettuces count as either. Well, she apparently can't count. I don't use hostels or shelters. Even May cackled a smile. Yes, even Theresa May was like, okay. I better not smile too much, or Liz Truss might be on the warpath. So guys, just before we finish, I want to say thank you to everyone who came on tonight. Thank you to the moderators for doing a wonderful job. Thanks to everyone who shared the videos online. Thank you so much for the support that you provide the channel. Great, and the comments you post on the channel. This is a great way to help the channel as well. Thanks for everyone who sent a super chat. Thanks to the moderators for doing a wonderful job tonight. So we're almost finished. So before we finish, we have our one for the road. I just want to post that up now. Hope you enjoy it.
Don't worry, boys, I'll be back in a moment. Just got a little bit of work to do. You spoke to an expert. What did he say? She? Never mind. Well, what we've learnt this week is Italians, complete f***ing idiots. Good for nothing. Cappuccino for me, please, Susan. I have just been made aware that in the past 5 hours worth of meetings, the women in the room have spoken for 10 to 15 minutes. And I think we can all agree that that is wrong. I don't know how they were given that much time. I'll make sure it's less in the future. You know what? Hancock is spending a lot more time in his office, but he is looking more confident than ever. Sorry, darling? What's that? No, I know I can't call you that. What do you want? Psychological support. What's that? Is it like a bra for your brain? Now, I am not a misogynist, but that woman is a cunt. Uh-oh, he's gone full trolley mode because trolley's changed direction. Top shelf comedy there. Imagine. He's not a trolley, he's a person. I don't really buy this NHS is overwhelmed idea. I'm an MP. I have 2 second jobs, 4 mistresses and 5 children that I know of. I'm overwhelmed. At least I don't have a shortage of beds, if you know what I mean. He is on Jaws mode, wank. Jaws, with the film Jaws. He thinks he's the mayor from Jaws and it's about keeping the beaches open. Basically, we're using pop culture to talk about important issues and it's hilarious to us. Could you listen to the WhatsApps that I've sent? I'm not sure I've sworn enough in them. What have I got so far? Dick fish, shit crabs, wank flamingos, cock sparrows, titty tits, you know, like blue tits, bollock kangaroos, twat worms, arse thrush. No, the bird thrush. I know that is confusing. Thrush, that's a good one. Fuck pigs, that's a great. Fuck pigs is great. I'm glad we workshopped this. Yes, of course I'm coming to the work event. I am feeling a bit peaky though. COVID test? No, I'll do you one better.
Wonderful. Oh my goodness. So once again, thanks to everyone who came on tonight. Thanks for the moderators for doing a wonderful job. Thanks to everyone who sent a super chat. Greatly appreciated. I'll see you on Friday, same bad time, same bad channel. And as always, stay safe, good night, and take care.